Hello, guys. Welcome to AniLab. I'm going to recap an anime today that both makes you shy and pleased. The main guy enjoys relaxing in hot springs, but he prefers to have many of attractive women with him instead of being by himself. He buys many of lovely girls of various races and invites them all to the hot springs as a result. Such joy prompts him to make a promise to increase his harem by purchasing additional gorgeous women. Kaga's inadvertent visit to a community in another universe serves as the opening of the narrative. He wants to test his strength after attaining powerful power. Unexpectedly, some bandits attack the village. He quickly takes out the ferocious bandit commander and other robbers. Kaga then understands that he possesses the greatest fighting ability in this universe. Kaga discovers that the leader's bandana has been switched as the village chief hands him the loot. He commands the chief to eliminate the genuine. In order to avoid upsetting Kaga, the chief launches an immediate investigation into the community. At last, the robber is apprehended. The thief's identity card will be marked as a slave in accordance with the village's standards. The chief then hands Kaga the card. The identity card is typically embedded in the body, and the government will pay a bounty if the identity card is presented. After receiving the reward, Kaga sells the slave to a gorgeous maid with enormous breasts who works in a slave business. She quickly draws Kaga's attention because she is beautiful on the inside and out. The merchant claims that the maid is a dog girl named Roxanne, which reveals Kaga's interest in her. She is able to assist in combat as well as provide her owner with nighttime assistance. Most significantly, she is unable to defy her master's commands because she is a slave. The vendor offers Roxanne at 420,000 and guarantees to hold her for a further 5 days. Kaga is aware that Roxanne will end up in the hands of others if he doesn't abduct her. Kaga finds herself thinking about Roxanne right now since she has an innocent face and a fascinating figure. Then he decides that he will work tirelessly to acquire Roxanne. Let's take a quick peek at the next 10 years. Kaga, who has achieved success, goes back to the area where he first settled. In addition to Roxanne, the girl he had long sought that year, he is surrounded by stunning ladies of many races, including regal elves and charming dwarfs. When he gets here, he runs upon a little boy who resembles him. Kaga has an idea since a former love affair comes to mind. He finds out that the youngster, who is now 9 years old, has only been reared by his mother. Kaga recognizes the boy right away. He gives the youngster a sword and instructs him to defend his mother. Then he moves on. He can now only silently maintain the tranquility of the mother and son's life from a distance. Let's flash back to a decade ago. Kaga looks for ways to make money so that he can have enough to buy Roxanne. He discovers that there are primarily 2 methods for getting money rapidly. One could seek bandits for a reward in order to exact infinite retribution from them. The neighboring Labyrinth can also be explored as an alternative. Kaga decides to visit the Labyrinth first since he believes it would be riskier to go after bandits. 2 new professions dubbed Seeker and Hero have just appeared in his occupation bar as he enters the room. The prop can be returned to the prop box in the system at any point, and the Seeker can also use a portal to move through the maze. But only certain locations can be used with the gateway. The Hero, who is a fighting type in literal sense, has the ability to speed up time. The long sword in Kaga's grasp helps him defeat the several tree men he has come across along the journey. However, regular use of the ability will drain his magic power. When it falls too low, Kaga will start to feel bad. Fortunately, he has a long sword in his hand that can neutralize the enemy's powers. Unexpectedly, despite having a crude appearance, the tree men are able to entice him with some human-dropped weapons. Then they surround him and jointly assault him. Kaga can only keep shortening the amount of time needed to kill them. He battles through the intense unpleasant emotions that the absorption of magic power creates. Although the materials obtained by murdering tree men are significant, they are still a very small portion of 420,000. He needs to come up with another plan. Finally, he makes the decision to chase bandits for bounty. He gathers information from his surroundings and learns that a gang of thieves is hiding in a suburban village. In order to investigate, he disguises himself and enters the village covertly. This awful place is sparsely populated, and the homes are in terrible shape. He only notices a few sallow and malnourished locals instead of any bandits. Kaga goes back to the hotel in the city and waits for late night, thinking that the bandits might show up then. It is completely different from the nightlife in a modern city, and it is really dark everywhere. Kaga takes some time to finally adjust to the situation, but he nonetheless inadvertently walks into the red light area. In front of him, there are innumerable gorgeous women. Typically, Kaga will dive right in without hesitation. He now, however, solely considers Roxanne. He sees a man with a scar on his face as he is about to depart. Kaga determines the individual as a bandit with his skill. He seizes the opportunity to pursue him. He eventually arrives to the bandit's hideout. He poses as a bandit while wearing the bandana belonging to the captured bandits and asks a guard for details. But the guard is not tricked. He brings Kaga into the space with the intention of killing Kaga and stealing the bandana. Kaga kills the guard in the shadows after covering the candle with a handkerchief. Then, in the dim light, he slips into the next bedroom and murders every slumbering robber. He is extremely cautious and makes an effort to remain silent. He still awakens the final bandit, which is regrettable. Even when Kaga successfully dispatches the bandit, the noise nevertheless draws the attention of additional robbers. Soon, the space is surrounded. He hastily chops off the bandit's left hands to obtain the identity card before returning to the labyrinth with the portal. He then receives the knight's bounty. He eagerly runs to the store with more than 420,000 in his palm. After receiving the payment, the slave merchant immediately assists Kaga in signing the slave contract. Just then, Kaga's information card suddenly flashes the information that he is the owner of Roxanne, a slave. Kaga's eyes start to go blurry as he stares at Roxanne, who is lovely. He feels as though he is dreaming as he considers buying this seductive beauty. His fantasy existence in another universe will now begin. He takes Roxanne right away to the inn because he can't control his tremendous desire. Roxanne is Kaga's slave, and he is free to treat her any way he pleases. When he observes her ears, he can't help but rub them. Roxanne appears tense and uneasy. But given that she offers no resistance to Kaga, it is clear that she is aware that she is a slave. Kaga's love and desire are continually piqued by such a tender girl. But eventually he makes the decision to set his feelings aside and openly declare his status as a transmigrationer as well as his varied current experiences. It is said that a deeper understanding is the foundation of a close connection. Kaga gains Roxanne's trust by being honest. Roxanne is no longer rigid when he finishes his speech with a tender hug, and her face is flushed. After that, Roxanne is taken by Kaga to get some supplies and underpants. In contrast to previous males, Roxanne finds Kaga to be considerate and meticulous, which relieves her of concern about the type of master she would encounter. She and Kaga are now able to converse intimately, almost like a couple. Night falls silently. To rest, they return to the hotel. Since there is only one bed in the room and in this planet slaves are not permitted to use beds other than for serving their master, Roxanne simply sits on the floor. Kaga, however, is not like a stuffy man from this world. He drags Roxanne to the bed and tells her they will now share a bed to sleep in. It is clear that Roxanne is still a little reserved. She rapidly shifts the conversation to the want to try the underwear and other items they purchased today. Kaga immediately turns away because he has never witnessed such a heart-pounding scene before. Kaga decides to act after spending a lot of time planning. He asks Roxanne to wipe his back in exchange for him doing the same to her. Roxanne removes off her clothing trepidatiously. Even her tail has a sexy wiggle to it. Kaga is unable to take his eyes off of the other while they wash each other's heads. He finally gives in to his desires, feeling as though he is in heaven. Roxanne anticipates the coming events. Despite her shyness, she dons a maid attire because she's been informed it would make the master happier. Kaga kisses Roxanne gently and lowers her down gradually, not waiting for her to finish getting dressed because he doesn't know what the merchant has taught her. Both of them are doing it for the first time. Together they mature after this beautiful encounter. Their shared experience brings them closer. They make a commitment to kiss each other good night and to go on adventures in this perilous planet. Together with Kaga's incredible strength and Roxanne's battle expertise, they can defeat every adversary in the labyrinth. Monsters hardly manage to survive Kaga's single shot. Roxanne's obsession with his bravery is growing. They have only reached the first level of the labyrinth's numerous. Kaga continues to fight enemies to raise his level in an effort to go to the next level of the labyrinth. Roxanne's level is likewise raised throughout the process. They receive adequate defenses for upcoming bouts thanks to Roxanne's uncommon healing skill, which she gains as her level increases. Roxanne is taken back to the inn by Kaga after a long day of combat. He doesn't ask Roxanne to do anything for him as a master would. He instead offers to assist her in cleaning her body. They had another passionate night as Roxanne's face flushes. The first level of the labyrinth's boss is the next obstacle they must overcome. Roxanne gets all giddy and happy. She is more animated about the conflict than Kaga is. The boss is a gigantic tree guy that is resistant to both talents and common attacks. Thankfully, Roxanne and Kaga get along well these days following the fights. When Roxanne takes the initiative to draw the enemy's attention, Kaga attacks the gigantic tree man's weak spot right away and slices it in half. They are then qualified to move on to the next level and acquire a new profession that allows them to turn herbs into medicines. In the second level, there are also lots of silk-spitting caterpillars and tree men. Kaga is initially ensnared by the silk when he encounters the caterpillar and is nearly murdered by the tree man. Thankfully, he kills the caterpillar quickly and escapes the silks. He finally vanquishes the adversary and takes the silks that have fallen. Kaga spots a man watching the slave shop as he makes his way back to the inn. With his skill, he recognizes the individual as a bandit and informs the slave trader of the fact. Before sharing his suspicions, the merchant gives it some thought. 2 men purchased the thief who took the bandana from the bandit yesterday. However, they did not remove the thief right away, which made the shopkeeper suspicious because bandit bandanas are not frequently seen by regular people. He implies that the thief and the bandits may have been in communication in the past and that they both plan to attack the store at night. The shop's guards are Roxanne and Kaga, who were hired by the merchant to prevent mishaps. Danger is closing in as night falls. The shop's security personnel manage to halt the majority of the thieves, but one manages to enter the establishment nonetheless. Kaga pursues him right away, hoping to use this as an opportunity to employ the first magic he has learnt, which can reduce the enemy's health power by reducing Kaga's magic power until the enemy dies. He moves stealthily toward the robber in the shadows, casting his spell afterward. Kaga collapses to the ground after quickly losing strength. It turns out that his health power will also be diminished when his magic power is too low. The shopkeeper runs over after hearing the noise. The broken body of the bandit is illuminated by his torch. Kaga is alarmed and terrified. The enemy will be the one who is dead if his health power is significantly more than his magic power. Then, using the long sword to absorb the magic force of the creatures, Kaga transports Roxanne to the labyrinth via a portal. He eventually recovers. Despite the peril of this battle, Kaga gains the title of wizard. He learns a variety of magics, the most significant of which is teleportation magic, which enables him to go instantly to any location he has visited previously. He chooses to keep this a secret out of caution as few people in this world have the ability to conjure magic. Kaga has the ability to cast magic with many qualities. Additionally, the flame ball, flame wall, and flame storm are all parts of the fire magic alone. His combat prowess is quickly increasing, giving him sufficient confidence. The group confronts the monster, a gigantic caterpillar, after they reach the end of the second level of the labyrinth. While Roxanne engages the enemy in close battle, Kaga uses flame magic to strike them. They work together to quickly dispatch the monster and advance the trophy. The ugly elves, a new type of enemy, are too weak for Roxanne and Kaga to handle. None of the ugly elves are able to resist Kaga's one shot. They depart from here after navigating the third level's landscape. When they get back to the inn, they wash one another's bodies to get rid of their fatigue and create a romantic mood. They give each other a loving kiss as the romance of the situation melts them. Roxanne's voice gets louder and more seductive as it continues. As they enjoy the moment with their partners, they feel content in both their bodies and souls. Kaga takes Roxanne to a bigger city in the morning where he buys a wand to aid in his magical casting. He decides to buy a log cabin in the mountains for them to live in after reflecting on the lack of privacy in his private contacts with Roxanne at the bar. After that, they return to the hotel to end the lease. This will be their final night staying at the inn. Roxanne flushes as Kaga meticulously cleans her body and she experiences this unique sensation. They quickly engage in another intense conversation while beaming with joy. They then relocate to their new home. No one can interrupt them any longer. Kaga envelops Roxanne in his arms. It is the first time they have been content in their new home. Roxanne feels more fulfilled and enjoyed than ever because to Kaga's close encounters. It is undoubtedly a passionate night. Following that, Kaga believes they should purchase some unique furnishings now that they have a home. He obtains a sizable, specially made barrel where they may both bathe. He uses water magic to fill the barrel and flame magic to heat the water to the proper temperature. He is then free to act as he pleases. He gets out his special soap and rubs Roxanne's body with it while they sit in the barrel together. Roxanne and Kaga rub their bodies together while applying the soap to one another. It will be the most exquisite experience they have ever had, and it will be his first time experiencing such a soft touch. Roxanne and Kaga take a break before returning to the labyrinth to carry on their journey. In the 7th level of the labyrinth, there is a dangerous red rabbit. They can obtain the fur if they kill the animal. Roxanne and Kaga quickly dispatch of it with flawless cooperation. They obtain the meat from the rabbits in addition to the fur. As a result of Roxanne's thorough preparation, the rabbit meat is incredibly delectable. As Kaga becomes addicted to this flavor, they return to the labyrinth with the intention of testing the red rabbit. They now come upon a long line of explorers. A blonde man who is passionately claiming to have spent 10 years traveling in the labyrinth is in front of them. He can save enough money if he defeats the red rabbit to purchase his preferred slave. Sadly, the blonde man is already dead when Kaga and Roxanne enter the labyrinth and notice his attire. Kaga completes his mission, but he is not in the mood to sample the delectable food. When they come back home, Kaga instantly requests to cuddle close to Roxanne in an effort to find solace in her warm body. They run into more powerful monsters as they travel further into the maze. Kaga injures his finger during the conflict by accident. He asks Roxanne to lick his wound at night to reduce the pain. That evening, Kaga's body and mind experience happiness and fulfillment. Kaga resolves to purchase a blacksmith as a slave so that they might increase the potency of their weapons in order to avoid danger. Sherry, a dwarf girl, is the only slave who has an opportunity to train to be a smith. She hasn't yet earned the Smith Guild's recognition because of how poorly she has fared in the labyrinth. Sherry asserts her strength and takes the initiative to market herself. Sherry's ears are long and slender, so Roxanne warns Kaga that she might be a little older. After giving it some thought, Kaga chooses to bargain with the merchant since he believes Sherry is valuable enough to receive training. Kaga completes the transaction at a very low price because the merchant is eager to sell it and a dwarf who isn't yet a smith isn't very valuable. Kaga takes over as Sherry's leader from that point on, but he notices Roxanne getting unhappy. He is relieved by Roxanne's jealousy because it is evidence of her love for him. Sherry is surprised to learn that Kaga not only has a variety of occupations but can also cast magic when they arrive at their home together. Even more unexpectedly, Kaga asks her to sit down on a chair so they may talk. Sherry recognizes that she has just met a strong and loving master at this point. Kaga chooses a suitable weapon for Sherry as soon as she joins the team. She enters the maze with Roxanne and Kaga while armed with her new weapon. Kaga fearlessly engages the monsters in combat as he is eager to display his strength in front of the new member. He believes that Sherry will be won over by his dashing appearance while battling, but he is unaware that Sherry has been admiring Roxanne's amazing skill in deflecting all of the monsters' blows. Sherry has a lot of admiration for Roxanne, which leaves Kaga feeling a little let down. Sherry is astounded by Kaga's magic casting prowess when they enter their home via the portal, and she does so without reciting an incantation. She gives Kaga an admiring gaze, which satisfies Kaga's need. Sherry creates lavish dwarf cuisine in the evening. Kaga rushes to offer Roxanne the food first after feeling Roxanne's intense pressure when he tries to hand it to her first. He understands that in order to maintain the family relationship, he must exercise greater consideration. They had a conversation about racial disparities after dinner. All people are horny, say Roxanne and Sherry. Sherry quickly flushes as she appears to grasp what is about to happen this evening. Even though Kaga claims not to be in a horny mood, he nonetheless enters the restroom expecting them to follow. Sherry undresses and presents a very timid appearance. Due to Roxanne's sexier body, she feels a little inferior. Sherry needs consolation, but Roxanne is so attractive that despite Kaga's best efforts, he can't help but draw nearer to her. He approaches Sherry once Roxanne is satisfied. He remarks on Sherry's cuteness, which causes Sherry to unwind and begin taking everything in. Kaga considers this bathroom to be heaven because he never thinks he will be able to take a bath with two gorgeous girls. The females then enter the bedroom while dressed in their pajamas. Kaga kisses Sherry after informing her that it is customary for couples to share a kiss before going to bed and right after waking up. He now recognizes Roxanne's irritation and knows he made the incorrect decision. He can only comfort Roxanne by lying about having to save the best kisses for last. In front of Sherry, he and Roxanne publicly declare their love for one another. Sherry reluctantly opens her eyes when it's her turn to witness how Kaga adores her. They enjoy a passionate night together. Kaga's new profession, the pervert, which increases the worth of his different traits, is handed to him when he awakens. He makes the decision to practice and advance in this profession, so he purchases more slaves from the slave market. He desires more attractive women of various races to become his partners. This is the conclusion of Kaga and his girlfriend's tale. I find it hard to believe that this story ends so fast before I get to view those lovely girls. Do you know any other harem-themed animated series? If you inform me in the comments below, I'll do recaps later. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to watch this kind of anime. Bye.